Overpromised with Covino Rich.
Do it. Do it. Welcome to episode 97 of Overpromised. Covino and Rich from Fox Sports Radio, the world famous CNR on FSR, Fox Sports Radio, 5 to 7 on the East, 2 to 4 on the West. Search Covino and Rich wherever you stream your podcast and enjoy. We even have a best of the week every Saturday, but an exciting week here. Getting ready for Vegas, baby. Celebrating the show. CRC. We.
Can't wait. We're going to be in Vegas, as you know, Friday and Saturday. 4 big events. Pool party at Circa, Stadium Swim. A lounge party that night. Atomic Golf. The whole agenda we'll go over in a little bit even more. But we got to first mostly give congratulations. There it is. There's the big convention. We. Got to give props to the Florida Panthers. And sorry, Canada, your drought continues.
The drought continues. Canada hasn't won since 93, the Canadians.
Ooh.
So we thought maybe it was time, but no, a repeat from Florida, a dynasty, the start of one, perhaps. Congratulations. They won 5-1 victory. Game 6. They won the series 4-2 over the Oilers. Props again to Florida. Props again to the Panthers. I hope to go to Florida this summer, actually. I'll continue partying.
You know what? So they've had a day plus now to really take it in. And, this is a fun fact that I feel like people know, but never a bad thing to remind people. Every member of an NHL Stanley Cup winning team gets one, as they say, private day with the Stanley Cup.
And all their names are on the little plate,
pretty cool, right?
I think. But who is Stanley? Stanley Roper? According to Google, Frederick Stanley, the 16th Earl of Derby.
Yeah, Lord Stanley's Cup.
Yeah, Lord Stanley.
I thought it was Stanley Roper all these years. I had no idea.
Stanley? You mean the guy that never gave it to Mrs. Roper?
Yeah, exactly. But it's an honor. It's a cherished prize. It's the trophy. They're victorious, and it got us thinking of the craziest things to happen.
Be careful, they're live.
Stanley.
Got us thinking of the craziest things that happened to the Stanley Cup, because like Rich said, they all get it for a period of time.
You start thinking of like perverted shit, but I do at least. Like you think there's some young player that like has in the room, and he's like, "All right, ladies, come on," and he just bangs a bunch of women in front of the Stanley Cup.
You were thinking of splooging in it.
How dare you say
he was
such a thing?
Definitely was.
Dude, he totally was.
You don't think
I saw it in your eye.
Please, you don't think there's one guy that's...
Do you think there's anyone?
You don't think there's one man that's defiled the Stanley Cup?
You're a deviant. You're a
deviant.
Well, it got us thinking of some of the favorite, most famous moments. And it starts with Mark Messier. His real name is just Mark Messi, but the Canadians call him Mark Messier.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Messier. He partied with it. Took it out to the club back in 87.
Well, this is when he won with the Rangers in 94. So he's a multi-time winner Stanley Cup champion. But in 1987...
he dented it.
Yeah, he was the younger man that brought it to the club. I'm telling you, you don't think he took it home after the club?
And remember, they put on the white gloves to present this thing. This is a cherished prize. This has history, right? So Messier sort of... I mean, I get it. You're having fun. You won. But you don't want to dent the thing.
Yeah.
So you have to imagine in the moment, you're like, oh.
Spot, it's okay. He pulled up like later Mark Messier with the bald head. Yeah. Rangers Mark Messier. He was a more mature man then. But in the 80s, Mark Messier, you don't know what he was doing with that thing.
You got to respect the cup, guys. But that happened, and it goes down in history. I was like, oh, man, remember when Messier did that in 87?
Now, I know it was fun to party like it's 1999. But in 1999, Craig Ludwig, I get it. The same way Tom Brady was throwing the Lombardi trophy from boat to boat, and people like to throw around trophies. This guy threw it off a huge pool deck.
But right there.
Yeah.
Stupid move. Like no one stopped. No. That's why you have to have good people around you.
It's Lord Stanley.
He's about to throw it off a roof into a pool, and apparently it's heavier than you think.
Yeah. And
so he misses.
It's sort of like, you ever see some dope? Sometimes it's like some college girl. Someone tries to jump off a roof into a pool, and then they stutter step at the last second, and they hit the edge of the pool. That's what happened to Lord Stanley's cup with that guy.
Hits the edge, dents, damaged. They got to take it to the body shop, I guess, to get repaired. I don't know how they fix it, but Yeah, I mean, what
Some
a
guy
stupid
size it
move.
up like, I got a little den here, go, $800.
Nah,
Okay, now
I don't know.
cash,
They call their
cash.
other repair guy over. I don't know. What do you think? Hey, as Sebastian Maniscalco says, but like, what a dumb move to begin with. You don't throw it off the roof and
Now-
then you miss.
Now, Cove, I know over the last couple of years, you went from the guy that was like, yeah, I'm not really a pet guy, and now you're the guy that has your dog sitting on your lap during every Yankees game. You got little Theo always with you.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be able to do this because Theo's little. It would require a big dog to eat out of it, right?
Yeah.
Big dog. Row, row. And Clark Gillies, apparently legendary. The legend goes, he put dog food in it, let his dog eat out of it, which is, I guess, a common thought. I would imagine a lot of people probably did it, but that story goes down in
he
history.
thought dog food. I thought some dirty shit.
Yeah, I was thinking like a giant bowl of Cocoa Pebbles. That's what I was thinking.
That was when the Islanders were awesome in the 80s.
Some rice and beans out of that bad
And
boy.
all the Guidos were like, yeah, Nassau Coliseum. When we were little kids, the Islanders dominated, and he's feeding his dog out of the Stanley Cup.
Honestly, what is your go-to thought before we get into our next two favorite moments with the Stanley Cup? Like, honestly, my thought when I think bowl and cup, because it's like Stanley's bowl in my mind. I would just eat a giant bowl of cereal out of it. That would be
Capitan Crunch?
Yeah, like give me some Crunch Berries, no soggies. It would be a big giant bowl of Cocoa Pebbles for real, or Peanut Butter Crunch, one or the other.
I mean, Fruity Pebbles?
Yeah, but that would be my thought. What is your thought?
I mean, you have
is
it
it
for
something perverted?
You have it for a full day, so you might want to start the day with some cereal, and then by the end of the day, you might have some cheeks on that bad boy.
You would feel like a king eating out of that thing. And I'm sure it's been done. That's an obvious one, of course.
Well,
but
you know what? You're thinking all dirty and weird.
me, you.
How about Sylvian? By the way, not Italian.
Sylvian Lefebvre
This guy
got his kid baptized.
This
in
guy
it.
was thinking like morals
Right.
and religion. He did the old baptism.
Like, what an honor, though, right? If you're that kid, if you're little Lefebvre and you're like, yeah, I was baptized. Like, you're part of hockey royalty at that point.
yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a nice family move.
You're
right?
blessed by the hockey gods.
Now,
So that's very cool.
I don't know why this one makes me laugh. I'll tell you why it makes me laugh. Chris Draper. Like, you know, when you were a baby, your parents would put you in anything and take a picture. You would be in the dryer. You'd be holding dad's beer or cigarette. Your parents would love to just take funny photos of you.
Always
You
with
do
a
it,
cigarette.
You do it with your kids.
Always with a cigarette in the 80s, for sure, or a can of beer.
This guy put his daughter in the Stanley Cup.
Cute.
She took a little baby shit.
Hold on. Here's what I don't get in this legendary story again. We're talking about pooping in the Stanley Cup, Chris
Yeah.
Draper. Chris Draper's daughter.
Yeah. He didn't poop in the Stanley Cup.
I mean, as far as we know.
yeah.
But she's not wearing a diaper.
I mean, it's probably one of those artistic, you know, the naked baby photos. Like probably just popping out at the top, you know. Like,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and there was another player whose, I think, kid peed in the cup. But here's the thing. I find it funny that 20 plus years has passed.
I changed my mind about eating out of it now, so.
Here's the funny part, though. That 20 plus years has passed. So there's some probably 20-something-year-old girl out there that's
Yeah.
like, that the story is like, yeah, I pooped in the Stanley Cup.
That's, I mean, gross, but also one of the coolest bragging
That
rights
might be
maybe ever.
the grossest cool bragging right of all time. Yeah, I pooped in the Stanley Cup when I was a baby.
And as crazy as you think these things are, it's not as crazy as when Spot, our producer here of Overpromised, tried to steal it to make his famous potato salad. You guys remember that? And we're like, no, Spot,
Spot, you can't.
Spot. But you're wondering why we know so much about it, because we're not the biggest hockey fans, but of course we're tuning into the Stanley Cup final to watch. You know, we actually had the honor and privilege of seeing it and holding it and touching it and looking at it and everything. We saw how it was handled, how it's taken out of this case and presented. And
You guys were trying to stop me.
yeah, and we were like, Spot, you can't. He's like, no, I must. We're like,
Listen.
Spot.
I know that I'm not a big hockey guy, but Spot, I feel like there's hockey fans around the world that are agitated that a guy like you got to hug the Stanley Cup. Meanwhile, to them, it's like royalty. It's
Lord Spotty's cup.
Yeah, I mean, it really is funny. You know what?
You wanted to eat a
hugging-
bisque out of it or something like that.
You trying to have some lobster bisque out of the Stanley Cup and hugging it like that is the same way people feel when there's some apathetic influencer sitting in the front row at a game and you're like, they don't deserve it. I don't think any of us deserve to be with this.
Oh, no.
Appreciate the legendary status
Of Lord Stanley?
Of Lord Stanley and his cup.
Yeah, you know, I respected it and understood the importance as well. I felt honored. and I'm honored to have that picture. But we posed a question to you based on these legendary stories. Which one stands out the most to you? Spot in his potato salad, dropping a deuce inside of it, and what would be your default? Really, what would be your go-to?
Well, think these
if
guys,
you had it for a night.
They're younger.
Is it in bed with you?
They're younger men, so perversion leads. I promise
for
you,
definitely.
They're all 20-something-year-old guys for the most part. So you don't think some type of sexual antics are involved? Get out of here. They have to be. So let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
It is Lord Stanley's Cup.
Rich wants to sit on it.
Is it the one thing that hockey has over the other sports? Is it the coolest trophy?
Yeah, no doubt.
Give me rank the other three.
But Stanley's Cup has more history, so.
Lombardi Trophy, World Series Trophy with all the flags, the NBA Trophy.
I mean, old school heavyweight belts, if the actual legends wore them and had them, because sometimes they get passed down, sometimes they get new ones.
What about the Rocky Balboa belt with the red, white, and blue?
Yeah, but as far as trophies and awards,
Yeah, I think the
Oh,
fact
I'm sorry. The Honky Tonk Man's Intercontinental belt might have been.
that was a pretty big one too.
I think the fact that it's the same one
Right.
and it's guarded and there's a person that's actually assigned.
Dude, they
to
had
handle
security.
the
They
cup.
wheeled it in and
Yeah.
everything. It was in a big case.
It's actually
you've probably seen it, but we saw it with our own eyes. Like it was a big deal.
I know it is. We used to do a guacamole contest, and we'd give out the golden molcajete.
The Golden Mocha Head
That's
Day
up there
was,
too.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
coveted for sure.
But hey, hockey fans, another great season in the books. And let me ask you one other follow-up. Panthers back-to-back.
yeah,
It's
Really cool.
not easy in sports now. I know when we were younger, there were three-peats in the NBA. You know, baseball had the Yankees three-peat, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Patriots. There are repeats and three-peats. And what is the hardest sport now, do you think, when it comes to repeating? Because I think there's an obvious answer.
It's baseball.
I think
because it
you're
hasn't
right.
been done, since the Yankees?
Since the Yankees. And listen, Mahomes has done it recently. They were going for the three-peat. In the NBA, you see these great dynasties that at any given year, those big teams could be back and win again. I think in baseball, your pitching needs to be on. You need to win a best of 5 and 7 and then another 7. It just seems like
It's a long-ass season.
And I hate-
Injuries always get in the way.
I hate to say it, but it just
Momentum
shows.
is a huge factor in all sports, but it still applies here. It's not an easy thing to do.
I mean, there was a time where, much like the Spurs in the NBA, it felt like the Giants in baseball won every other year.
yeah.
It just really does put in perspective, and I hate to say it, that Yankees dynasty.
Not only that, not only did
three
they
in a row,
win 3 in a row, but they were in so many in that time span.
I mean,
right?
they had 96,
And
they
lost
won.
a
There was
few.
a year off, then they won 3, then there was a year off, then they lost one, they lost another one. Like it's
That
so-
run they had looking back, we were far enough removed to at least, even if you're a Yankee hater, be like, damn, they definitely had a run. They had a squad, and
Makes
that's
you,
really
makes you
hard to
not
do.
feel so bad when you see what the Red Sox did to them in 04. It's like, yeah, they were fine. They were fine.
So, yeah, I would say baseball is the hardest to repeat in, not to take away at all from what Florida did. Congrats to them. And good luck next time, Canada.
Yeah, hey, it might hopefully next year. Now, speaking of baseball, you know me, I'm the #1 coach of Fox Sports Radio.
I mean, so I've heard.
I coach my son's 5U pony ball team. We don't do Little League out here. We do pony ball. I know there's differences.
there's
Same
still
thing.
Little
Same
League
difference.
out
Oh,
here.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there's different rules slightly. Competition's a little different, but my son's in West Hills pony ball. And I'm coaching the 5U All-Stars. And Spotty, I say a couple pictures. Like, these kids are like having the time of their life. And
Is that why they call you Pony Boy?
yeah, I'm pony ball.
I thought it was because you got your ass kicked by the Socias.
Yeah, these kids. And did you ever have your name on the back of a uniform when you
Hell
were a kid?
no, dude. I
you-
had like a hand-me-down leftover jersey from the 70s.
Did you have all your own bats and sliding gloves and all the shit they have? It's
No.
wild.
We had like patched up bullshit pants, remember? Like,
Yeah.
it's like whatever was passed down
Oh,
by
no.
the previous team.
It's serious now. You get, as other parents know, you get links from, and I have to send it out to my team. Like, here's the exact socks you need. Here's the exact belt you need, because we all need to match perfectly. Like, it's pretty fun, dude.
Look at
I'm-
these little rugrats.
I'm having so much fun coaching them, but I wanted to pose a question to all the parents because
Sure.
I feel like now's the time. Travel sports, kid sports, you get to that stage. If you do have kids involved in sports, every weekend and weekdays with practice, your world is consumed by this.
Well, the two things we always hear
Yeah.
is how much time it takes up and how your whole life revolves around it. So you don't even have time for yourself or a weekend, and how expensive it is. Those are the two things we hear all the time.
And-
but you don't want to let your kid fall behind, right? You don't want to provide them with these opportunities either. So it's like, well, what do you do?
I've seen this. They're 5, but I've seen this little all-star team bond so much in just a few weeks. And it got me thinking of a question I want to pose to everyone. And hey, you can hit us up at Covino and Rich with your feedback. I'm sort of torn on how important winning is when they're 5 and 6 years old, because there are teams we're playing that there's like bullshit rules, like get the ball in the infield. If you put your hands up and say timeout, dead ball, timeout. Where other teams, follow me here, little ground ball to, Easton at third base, he picks it up. The mindset is if he tries to throw to first at 5 and 6, there's a 50% chance that ball's going to get by him. And now the runner's on third. So other coaches are saying, field the ball and just put your hands up.
So they're playing within the rules, but they're not necessarily teaching the kids to throw to first.
Now, like, my thought is my instinct was, you field that ground ball, buddy. You throw to first base. Now, it may get past him, but you're 5. I get it. You will eventually get it.
So the other teams don't want to give extra bases, and by default, they're going to win because they're giving up less bases.
Like my kid, I'll be like, throw to first base. And I'm realizing that you're not going to win that way. So is winning important in 5 and 6-year-old sports?
I think we also need to clear it up. Easton isn't a bat. Easton's the little kid on third, apparently.
No,
so
they all got these cute little names, Hudson and Easton and Jackson. And that's how they are.
So winning at 5. Here's what we also need to keep in mind.
Yeah.
These kids are 5. They can't wipe their own ass. They would shit probably in the Stanley Cup. They pick their nose and eat it.
Yeah. They cry. They get upset.
They're little kids.
It could be the
kindergartners.
It could be the third inning, and it's like, Coach, I gotta go pee.
I want to make it clear, I'm not getting soft. We're not getting soft here. I have to say they are 5 years old. So winning is everything, but not at 5. Fundamentals. You're putting the fun in fundamentals. This is something you should ask Coach Ballgame.
Yeah.
Even though, what does Coach Ballgame have on Coach Dickey?
That's what I'm saying.
He's a good friend and recent guest on our show. He does this with these little kids all the time. I think, again, things change quickly. But life is hard and life is competitive.
Yeah.
From about the time you're 8 and 9 till the rest of your life. So from 5 to like 8, 9, you can't let them have fun?
Yeah.
At least teach them that there's fun to be had, even though winning is a lot of fun. But you got to teach them the fundamentals here.
You know how fun winning is? We won, the first tournament game we won was on a walk-off. And, Spot, if you play this video of my little dude, Jackson, my son, Ben, got the leadoff hit to get the rally going. We were losing 3-1. They ended up winning 4-3 on a walk-off.
I'm sorry, did you say your son got the...
He started the
rally?
Started the rally.
With 2 strikes and 2 outs in the last inning?
2 strikes, 2 outs, last inning. And
little Ben.
Just watching the excitement for these kids and the parents, then you say, well, shit, winning is sort of fun too.
You won
winning
the right way. But you won the right way.
Okay, well, hey, I know every parent has their videos, but I got to share my little guys because I was so proud of them. Honestly, as a dad, this was probably a top 5 moment for sure, watching these little kids enjoy.
Top 5 moment?
As a parent?
Not if you had that Stanley Cup and the things you would have done with it.
Oh, if I had the Stanley Cup in my 20s, this would be number 25 on my list. But no, but
as
a dad, watching my son and his little buddies celebrate this moment, this is my dude, Jackson.
Okay.
Hitting a walk-off. That blue flame pitching machine.
So your son comes running in.
Yeah, he's already in. He already
scored. Okay.
Winning run on second. There we go. Boom! Jackson, it's a rope. My little dude Amari around to score. So I'm torn because look at how freaking fun winning is. But do you want to teach him the right way? The dilemmas of kids sports.
Hey, when a kid catches a ground ball,
you
don't throw your hands up. You try to make the play.
It's so tough. Yeah.
I think those coaches are lame, trying so hard to stay within the rules just to win a game.
You know what I heard happens the next level
it's like
up?
You're competing that hard against other 5-year-olds? That's kind of mean.
Let me give you the bullshit.
It's also kind of mean that you were cheering that hard in front of a bunch
the
of
losing kids?
5-year-olds who just lost.
That's true,
I mean,
too.
they're just little kids.
Know what I heard? The bullshit that happens on the next level. Once the kids start pitching, then the next BS thing is kids are being told by their coach, like, don't even swing to get that guy's pitch count up. Like, there's always like...
No, it's all about fundamentals at this age.
Yeah.
And I think it does maybe start younger than we were kids. I started taking all this very serious around 8 or 9 years old. Like,
I think that's a good age.
I jumped into Little League like wanting to win. I didn't play when I was this little. When you're this little, you're just learning and having fun. But you could learn and have fun by going through the proper motions, not playing by these cornball rules like this. And, you know, it makes me think of the big fundamental spot, a legend, Tim Duncan. These fundamentals that you're teaching them, Rich, and props to you, stick with them for the rest of their life. So you're teaching these kids how to throw. I think in the future they'll have more of an advantage of these other kids who haven't been throwing to first.
And again,
because they've been putting their hands up.
And again, can I reiterate?
Ball.
Can I reiterate one more time? They're 5.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Yo, before we get out of here.
So fundamentals are playing to win. Let us know at Covino and Rich, at Fox Sports Radio, hashtag Overpromised. At what stage is it about winning?
I'm
showed saying 8 or 9.
You showed me a video that, remember when Ken Griffey Jr. went from the kid with a backwards hat to like old chubby retired guy, and you're like, yo, where did the last 20 years go?
Wearing a crew neck. This is our daily reminder that time's a flying. This week, Rafael Devers went from the Red Sox to the San Francisco Giants. And the Giants basically gave up nobody for a slugger.
Devers.
And Buster Posey's the guy. Now, if you're not watching the Giants every day, you probably don't see Buster Posey all the time. So when's the last time you saw Buster Posey? I still think of baby-faced catcher Buster Posey, right?
He was the most baby-faced, like, superstar kid. He won his rookie year, if I remember correctly, right? He won the World Series. He was a baby.
And now, and this is not a knock.
He's so little.
He's a handsome, distinguished. I mean, he has the presence of a GM. Like, yeah, I'm Buster Posey.
Yeah.
Of the San Francisco Giants, but it's not the same guy you remember. Take a look at him.
To thank the Boston Red Sox for being one of the more poorly run organizations of the last 5 years. Why do you guys hate having talented players? First you give up Mookie for a dry hand job and a bucket of balls, and now you let me rob you of Rafael Devers for an unproven young pitcher.
By the way, how good is that?
And by the way, how great would it be if that's what he really said?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what he's thinking. But regardless, I'm looking at him, and he looks handsome, but it's not the guy you remember. He looks great. It's not a knock. It's just a reminder that time's flying. He's not that kid anymore. We're all getting older. Yeah.
You know the rule that you can't slide because of Buster Posey? That rule's probably like 20 years old now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Hey, enjoy, and don't forget, Thursday is, today's Thursday. Tomorrow, we leave tonight. Tomorrow is when it all goes down. Circa in Las Vegas, pool party, stadium swim. Then tomorrow night, we got a big party at the Circa Lounge on the rooftop. And then Saturday, atomic golf. And then a big dinner Saturday night. All the RSVPs and all the way to pay for some of these events. Some of them are free. All at Covino and Rich on social media, or you can go to CovinoandRich.com. Very simple stuff.
And if you're not making it out to Vegas, you'll hear us live on Fox Sports Radio.
Yeah,
so we'll bring the fun to you like we always do. And thank you for joining us here. Enjoy your Game 6 NBA Finals. And thanks for hanging out with Covino and Rich. Overpromised.
Hey, arrivederci, baby.
See you in the Overpromised land.
Bye-bye.
Bye.